What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Stand Up Guys Podcast, episode 173. I'm your host, Incomparable Zach Jones, joined as always by the Ninth Wonder, Chocolate Thunder, eaten by the mile like it's going out of style, the clam slurping, tuna burping, no matter how tired, no matter how hurt, forget about water, you only drink squirt, the phenomenal A.J. Singh.
What's up? How's it going?
I can't complain, AJ. I'm on vacation from work, so I've just been lazing about pretty much this week.
Nice.
Um,
I have not been I have been lazing about for a while now, but I'm going back to school and stuff. But I have been taking this time off to work out like crazy. And today I went for two jogs. So I went like probably 4 miles. Didn't jog the whole way, jogged probably like two-thirds of that, maybe a little bit more. And then I jogged a little bit more, but mostly walked another 2 miles. I think it was probably a good 6 to 8 miles today. So
oh
it
wow,
was
that is a good.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've actually ever talked about it on the show, but you've actually lost like an insane amount of weight, right?
Yeah, I'm working on it, man. I'm still going. So I'm not done yet. Still a project, work in progress.
Well, haven't you lost like already like over 100 pounds or something?
Yeah, I'd say I lost about 130 pounds.
Holy cow, man, that's awesome. But yeah, that's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. But I mean, it's healthy living. So I definitely, I feel like I've got a second wind, like before I didn't care about a lot of stuff. I didn't have a lot of motivation, but losing weight really changes your perspective on things. And, I mean, that's probably part of why I'm going back to school and stuff. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, one thing I will say, because I lost quite a bit of weight. I guess
Hmm.
it's been a little over 10 years now, but I was overweight almost my whole life. And when you put things in perspective, like I really lost the majority of that weight within like 6 months. So, like, if you're somebody out there that's really heavy and you think, like, oh, there's no way I can possibly uh, get out of this hole I dug myself into, like, you can do it faster than you would think possible. And like
Yeah.
once the thing is like you were saying, like once you start seeing those results and like losing the weight, then you kind of become like even more addicted to like working hard and like seeing even more come out. And like, yeah, you can really transform yourself, in mere months, more so than you would ever think possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So no, man, that's cool. Well, AJ, you watch anything new this week, or you just been
I
working
just been
out?
watching YouTube videos and stuff. Nothing really. I did hear that Godzilla minus one is a really good movie. Everybody's talking about that. I haven't seen it, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I've heard a review of that as well, and it got really positive reviews. I'm skeptical. Like, I don't know. I've just never been into the whole kaiju monsters fighting thing, and like the few of those movies I have seen are like the more recent like American ones that are not
Yeah,
very good at all.
right.
And it's my understanding that even a lot of the Japanese ones are terrible. But like, yeah, this one's getting very good reviews. Like, I'm not going to go see it in theaters, but maybe when it hits streaming, I'll actually check this one out.
Yeah, man. I think I don't know if I talked about it in the podcast, but I canceled all my streaming services. I'm waiting for them to like buffer, like reload with a bunch of good stuff. And why pay like over $100 a month for all these streaming services? Barely getting anything to trickle down right now. Like just I think I'm gonna take a little time off, maybe 6 months or so, maybe a little bit longer, who knows? But yeah, I'm hoping everything builds up.
That really is the way to do it. Like, um, I have kind of like a permanent subscription to Hulu just because I still like, even though it's not very good, like I still kind of keep tabs on like WWE programming, which is on Hulu. So like
Mhm.
I still keep up with it to an extent. But yeah, I think the only other one I have right now is Max, and that's only because they gave it to me for like half price for like 4 months, and that's almost out. So once that's out, I'm gonna cancel that again. So like, I'm in the same boat where like for the most part, like, um, yeah, I don't need a million subscriptions because you're just wasting money. You can only watch so much, and there's not gonna be things, you know, on certain ones that you're going to be watching anyway. So it's like, yeah, I'm the same way. I'll kind of keep my ear open for reviews and stuff, and like keep tabs on what's coming. Be like, oh yeah, okay, a second season of the show I like. Oh, okay, maybe I'll finally dip back into that service and watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, honestly, I think that's the only way to go, unless you just have enough disposable income that you're like, I'll just subscribe to everything. And I know
yeah,
there's people like that just like the ease of that. Which, if you can do that, good on you. But like, yeah, I'm a big advocate of canceling and resubscribing when you want to.
yeah.
Well, AJ, you would think that having all this time off, I would have watched more stuff, but I really this week only started one new show.
Hmm.
It's on Hulu. It's called A Murder at the End of the World,
Okay,
and I'm digging it quite a bit so
cool
far.
name. Cool
Yeah,
name.
yeah, definitely a good name. So, like, the premise of the show is there's this woman, and she's like an amateur sleuth, and like her dad was a mortician, so she was always around like death, and she even saw like some of the crime scenes that he worked on and stuff like that. And
Mm,
so she kind of just became obsessed with like solving crime and stuff like that. And she ends up like solving this like serial killer cold case, and she becomes an author and like um publishes a book about it.
mm.
And so that gets the attention of so Clive Owen's character is almost like this. He's like this really wealthy, like uh, tech guy, like almost like a Steve Jobs type guy.
Okay.
And he invites her to like this secret retreat that him and his wife put on, where they invite basically like a bunch of like really smart people and like people they find fascinating to this retreat.
Mm,
So it's like her and maybe like I don't know 7 or 8 other people get invited to this retreat,
mm.
and like when they get there, like like the whole thing is like Clive Owen invites some of the people, and then he lets his wife, who's also like has like kind of this fascinating past, as like this like um woman who's like an expert like in hacking devices and stuff,
Mm.
and so she also invited like some people. But anyway, like Clive Owen, his whole thing is like he wants to put the smartest people in this room together to solve climate change, basically.
Okay.
And but like the first night they're there, of course, somebody gets murdered. Okay,
Oh,
and
how are you gonna solve
so
climate change with a murder? How you what you
oh, and
gonna
I should say it's the reason it's called the murder at the end of the world is this retreat is like in this in what is Iceland, and it's like this very remote place, you know. Um,
that's kind of messed up to say that about Iceland. To be like, this is the end of the world. This is like this Iceland, just godforsaken end of the world.
yeah, really, from what I understand, Greenland would be more the end of the world.
Yeah, that's true.
But
And they purposely named Greenland that because they were trying to trick people into going there.
oh, is that true?
Yeah, they're trying to colonize it, and they were like, "Yeah, it's green. That's Iceland. This is Greenland."
Well, look, if they let climate change go on, eventually maybe it will be green. But so yeah, this sets into events of like her. It's kind of like that classic like closed door mystery, and she's trying to solve it, and also like throughout you kind of get flashbacks to her solving that serial killer case she was on, and like the show's still coming out like week to week. I think there's still like 2 episodes I haven't seen, but like
So, like, she got invited by one of these rich people, these tech people.
yeah, and you don't really know like Clive Owen insinuates at the beginning that like he invited all the smart people. Well, like there's an astronaut and there's like a robotics like genius, and like he insinuates that he invited those people, and anyone left over his wife must have invited, but like they haven't like came out and said like complete, like I think that's still an air of mystery, like whether he actually invited her or if his wife invited her. So, and
Okay.
like I said, his wife has kind of a dodgy past too, so it's like It's definitely interesting though. If you're a murder mystery fan, I definitely recommend checking it out. I'm digging it quite a bit so far.
Buddy, I'm podcasting.
Got a cameo. Well, AJ, speaking of TV, I thought we could, last week we kind of ran like, the big movies that are coming out in 2024. So I found a list of anticipated 2024 TV shows. Now, I will say this is not a complete list. It's hard finding a good TV list because you either get those lists that list like everything, like The Bachelor season 72 or whatever. Like, I didn't want to get a list like that and just go through like a bunch of nonsense. And then you
Right.
also get lists that are maybe just too sparing. Now, the problem with this list, I will say that like there's shows on here that have already been like delayed and like um to 2020. Like there's one on here that I know isn't coming out next year, and there's a few others that like I'm pretty sure aren't either. But it at least puts some stuff on our radar, and we can go through and see if we're excited for these or not.
Yeah.
So this first one, I might wait on reviews, but I've seen a trailer for it, and it does look like it'd be up my alley, which is True Detective season 4. Now, AJ, I don't know about you. I've only watched True Detective season 1, uh, which was the season with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey, which I thought was fantastic. And then I remember season 2 came out, and everyone said, "Oh, this is terrible." So I never watched that one. And then a
Right.
season 3 came out, and people were like, "It's okay, but it's no season 1." Um,
Hmm. I never saw season. I never haven't seen it at all.
oh,
But
you haven't seen
I
it
did hear
all?
really good things about season one.
Yeah, I highly recommend season 1. It's really good, and it's the show that like everyone said like, "Oh my God, Matthew McConaughey, can actually be a good actor," and the whole McConaissance thing.
Okay.
I will say though, it seems like he's made some real trash since the McConaissance. So I don't know if that was a forever thing, um,
Right.
but it says the anthology crime series that kicked off with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey in the Deep South now heads north to the inhospitable terrain of Alaska. This new series stars Jodie Foster as a detective on the hunt for a serial killer. What's scarier than a villain who operates in almost perpetual nighttime? Think blood-soaked snow patches and grumbly, monotone police officers who've seen too much stuff in their lifetime. So I just like that it seems to be in because like I remember season 3, even though I didn't watch it, it was like set in the a period piece, I think, set in the past. This one looks
Mm.
more contemporary again, but I like a good cat and mouse serial killer like thing, and Jodie Foster's really good. I saw a trailer for this; it looks good, and so as long as it doesn't get like season 2 type of reviews, like
Right.
I'm in for it. This one here doesn't appeal to me, but I'll read the description, see what you think. Masters of the Air. Um, Are you in search of every buzzy actor in the biz right now? Look no further than Masters of the Air, which boasts a cast that includes Austin Butler, Barry Keoghan, Nakuti Gatwa, Callum Turner, and Jude Law.
I
Are
only know one of those actors.
I know a couple of them, but yeah, it's not exactly a who's who. The series takes to the skies as it follows a 100th bombardment group of the U.S. Army Air Force during the Second World War. It's a companion series to Band of Brothers, another equally stacked series full of then up and coming superstars. Yeah, for me, this doesn't do anything for me. Like the war genre just kind of puts me to sleep. It always has. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's not my thing.
Ever since I learned that like the military has to okay every project that Hollywood does, like there's so much military propaganda. I'm like overly wary of it now. I'm just like I veer away from that stuff now. I'm like I don't like being told what to think.
Is that true in this day and age? I would think
Yeah, the
Hollywood could
military still has offices like in Hollywood. Like they have to sign off on every project. From what I've heard.
really. That's interesting. Like I could
Yeah.
maybe see them being like, oh, if you somehow put government secrets in this movie, like we need to know, you know. But
It's like a culture thing. Like like things have to fit a certain like cultural narrative.
Yeah, I feel like there have been movies made that are like more skeptical of the military, but like I don't know, there are a lot of just like rah rah,
Yeah.
good. We're the good guys always. The next one, this one I'm kind of curious about, even though I don't know much about it, but it is in the realm of sci-fi, which I like. It's called the three body problem, from which I understand is based on a best-selling book.
Hmm.
So David Benioff and DB Weiss have left the
Oh
rudimentary.
no.
Yeah, it's them.
Oh no. It's such a good book too. Oh
Have you actually read the book?
I've only seen like the breakdowns of the book,
Oh,
like
okay.
by this guy Quinn's Ideas. He's got a YouTube channel, and I think it's called the Three Body Paradox or something. I'm not sure.
Well, this says the three body problem, but maybe the book
Maybe
was.
it's Problem. Yeah, it might be Problem then. But by Six and Liu, I think.
But you know what? Like, even though Game of Thrones, I will agree, kind of faltered in the end. That last season was disappointing. There was enough good stuff within Game of Thrones that I'm just not like ready to totally write these guys off. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get it. I, they're good when they have source material. You know, like when they have the actual books to look at. You know, and I'm maybe that's what this is. Like maybe he's written all the works. I don't know if he's done yet. I don't know all about that, but I mean, as long as they stick very close to the source material, I think they have a chance of making a good show. But if they start coming up with their own ideas, that's where I get really skeptical.
That's a good point. If this book series is already completed, like they have a better chance then, I guess, of not having to make up stuff and like.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might actually help. But yeah, it says Benioff and Weiss left the tools of Westeros behind and have entered into the science fiction game with this adaptation of the best-selling novel of the same name. So maybe it's just one novel, and if that's the case, like yeah,
Okay.
they should be good to go. It
Mhm.
follows an astrophysicist who, after seeing her father brutally murdered during the Chinese Cultural Revolution, is conscripted by the military, sent to a secret radar base in a remote region of the country. There, decisions she makes in the 1960s ripple through time. So popular is this property that it's also had an unrelated Chinese adaptation released. So yeah, I'm a sci-fi into sci-fi, so I'm definitely interested in this. Okay, this next one I'm not going to read because it's Daredevil Born Again, which has already been announced that it's not going to see the light of day until 2025, I believe. So
Oh wow.
now they don't have Echoes on this list or Echo on this list of most anticipated.
Well, so I don't know anything about Echo. I don't really care about Echo, but I've been seeing like reviews for it already online.
Yeah, and like I saw a headline. I didn't like listen to any of the reviews, but like it made it
No,
look like it was getting like decent reviews by people who had advanced access to it. So,
I'm still not gonna watch it.
oh, I'm gonna watch it, but I'm
Are you?
100%.
You watch it for the show?
I mean, it's up to you, but yeah, I would review it if you want to. But I'm definitely gonna watch it for sure. Um, this next one actually makes me curious to go back and watch. So this one is called The Night Manager Season 2, which I remember vaguely knowing about uh, the Night Manager Season 1 when it came out years ago, but like I never really looked into it at all. But so it says the world fell to its knees when the first season of The Night Manager hit our screens in 2016. Well, I don't know if that's true. Um, introducing us to Tom Hiddleston's former military officer Jonathan Pine. Based on the John Le Carre novel, it was a slick and sexy spy offering, and one we thought we'd left back in the 2010s. However, it was announced this year that not only will the Night Manager be back, but Hiddleston will be returning too. There's no word yet on where this espionage caper will take us. Um, so yeah, I might go back and actually watch the Night Manager season 1 because I do like Tom Hiddleston, and like the spy genre can be hit and miss, but there's certainly spy movies and things that I've watched that I've enjoyed. So I don't know. It kind of appeals to me. So maybe I'll watch season one, and if I like it, I'll check out this season two. What do you think?
I never heard of the first season. I don't never heard of the show, but I don't know, spy stuff. Just maybe I'm in a phase, but I'm not really interested in that right now. I guess.
Okay. Um, this one I'm definitely going to watch if it comes out this year, but who knows? But it's the Penguin. The Batman, the Robert Pattinson movie, of course, Colin Farrell played the Penguin in that movie, and now he's going to get his own series on Max. So it says Colin Farrell is packing himself back into the prosthetics to re-inhabit his role as Gotham's greatest crime lord from 2022's The Batman. Landing on Max, the series will explore Oswald Cobblepot's rise to the echelons of the city's criminal underworld and consists of 8 episodes. Not much is known about the series yet, but that's just the way the shadows of organized crime works. So yeah, I'm definitely interested. I liked Colin Farrell in that movie, even though he's almost unrecognizable in all the makeup and stuff. But yeah, I would definitely be up for reviewing this on the show. What about you?
Yeah, I'd be up for it. I'm not super excited about it just because DC hasn't. I don't. I'm not super excited about DC right now. I just haven't seen a lot of good stuff coming out of them.
Did
Um,
you like the Batman?
it was okay, but I think they just. It's so dark and gritty all the time. Like, I know it doesn't have to be like Thor: Love and Thunder or anything like that, but I mean, it could be more in tune with what the world's really like. There's ups and downs, there's good and bad. Like there's funny and unfunny and serious. Like it could be a little bit of both. I think.
I will say though, I kind of like that this series is and the Batman is really dark and gritty because I kind of suspect that the Batman movie they're going to make in the James Gunn universe,
Hmm.
where he's going to have Batman and then Damian, his son. I think that
Okay.
probably is going to be somewhat of a lighter tone, so that since we're already getting that one, I'm like, yeah, go ahead and make the Pattinson one dark and gloomy and messed up. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So that we
So
can
it's
get
gonna be a
both
different
those.
Batman. It's not gonna be Pattinson in that movie, or is it
No,
gonna be?
no, it's going to be different.
Jeez, man, like so many different Batman too. Like I do like Marvel's cohesiveness, like their storytelling compared to DC's, because DC's is like they have so many different Batman movies, man. It's like I wish it was one universe.
Uh, I have mixed feelings about. I think the reason they did that was because they already had this Pattinson series going, and I think it was going to be hard to kind of shape that into what James Gunn wanted to do. And then also the Joker movie, the first one did very well, and they're making that second one, which we talked about last week. And so I think they were just like, okay, we're going to have like a branding of like Elseworld things that aren't in the James Gunn universe. And like, I think I'm okay with it because it lets them do more interesting stuff outside of the. I think you do risk confusing general audiences for sure. That's
Yeah,
what I worry about.
especially like the people who aren't like hardcore fans and stuff.
But I don't think there's going to be too many of these Elseworlds series, just because I think they're going to have to commit so many resources just to the shows and movies they announce that are in the James Gunn kind of universe that I don't think they're going to want to commit a bunch of like I think they'll have that Joker sequel and they'll see how that does. And I think they probably have a trilogy of these Pattinson movies in mind. But I would kind of be surprised if they do any other kind of Elseworld, not in the James Gunn universe type of things. So I don't think it's going to be a big issue. Um, okay, this next one I have not heard about. It's called The Sympathizer. It says if there's one thing that Marvel's aughts culture takeover taught us is that if you have Robert Downey Jr., you better make the most of him. In The Sympathizer, he plays a master of disguise inhabiting all the characters that make up a vague notion of the man in this story about a Viet Cong spy infiltrating the South Vietnamese community in the 1970s Los Angeles. Directed by legendary South Korean auteur Park Chan-wook, the series has been described as part thriller and part satire. Now, I really like Robert Downey Jr., but like if this like description, like is he going to be disguising himself as like a Vietnamese man? Because that sounds like
He's doing
something.
every race, man. He's doing every race. I think there was a movie where he pretended to be. So first there was Tropic
Tropic
Thunder.
Thunder, yeah.
I think there was another movie where he pretended to be a Mexican guy, and I don't know how that went over. And now is he doing Vietnamese face?
I don't know. Well, he's a master of disguise. That would be funny. Like every episode, he's a different race. I don't know. It sounds interesting still. If I see a trailer on that one and it looks interesting, I might check it out. So the next one is called Rivals. Um, Dust off your jodhpurs. I got to say, this is like a British article, so they have references here. I don't know what they're talking about.
It sounds like a type of shoe.
And unlock your memory box of saucy puns because Jilly Cooper is getting a renaissance in 2024 with an adaptation of her bestseller Rivals, part of the Rutshire Chronicles, which follows the horsey elite of 1980s
Well,
Britain.
man, we need to go back and teach the British how to talk, man. What is going on with this?
This is a mess. The story follows a rivalry between TV channel executives. What? The series will star David Tennant, Aidan Turner, and Danny Dyer. Expect sex, power struggles, and a fair few ripped riding coats. No, thank you.
Oh
I don't know what this is, but no, thank you.
like, if they had TVs in the Victorian age, this show would be a hit. But yeah, I don't know.
Ooh, this next one, AJ, I have not heard anything about this, so I'm very dubious that it will actually be coming out in 2024. But I'm interested because, as I mentioned, I think last week, I really liked Blade Runner 2049, the movie. Well, apparently, there's going to be a TV series, Blade Runner 2099. There isn't much Blade Runner 2099 news out there, just that it's happening, and Ridley Scott is steering the ship. While Blade Runner 2049 partially set up options for a follow up, a movie sequel was never greenlit. Instead, the next story, set 50 years on from our last outing in the world of replicants and humans, will land on Prime Video at some point in the future. Yeah, that excites me. I'm not a big fan of the original Blade Runner, but I love Blade Runner 2049, and I kind of like the whole like cyberpunk aesthetic. So like, I'm definitely will give that a shot. What about you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't seen 2049 yet, so I'll definitely have to check that out. But yeah, sounds good.
Well, even the article doesn't think this next one's coming out in 2024, but I'll mention it. The Devil in the White City. In what possibly might be the most cursed TV property of all time, it's unlikely that The Devil in the White City will actually hit our screens in 2024, what with having no director or lead star anymore. However, we remain hopeful, if only because it's a prospect that seems to have 9 lives. As the production baby of Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, this series, which is about Chicago against the backdrop of the World's Fair and the notorious serial killer H.H. Holmes, lost Keanu Reeves as its lead star and Todd Field as its helm. Right now it's in limbo, but you can't kill this one that easily. So, I mean, it seems like this is in development hell. But even if it happens, I don't know that it sounds all that appealing to me.
Yeah, no.
Um, I don't know. I gotta say, like, there is a lot like of Martin Scorsese movies that I haven't seen. In fact, I'd say there's more of his movies that I haven't seen than I have. But that's because like he's usually obsessed with like mobster type stuff, and that's a
Yeah.
genre that I've just never been into. Now, this doesn't necessarily like say gangster stuff, but ah, I don't know. It's still just the description doesn't really do that much for me. I do sometimes serial killer stories can be interesting, but I don't even know if that's the main focus of this story. So I don't know. Probably not for
You know,
me.
I said it was a phase earlier, but I never really liked spy stuff. I never really, all that hoorah stuff. But I always liked mafia stuff, and I loved The Godfather. So I'm definitely a little partial to some of his work. So maybe who knows?
So you might be in for it. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I have so many like huge like blind spots of like movies just because like for example, I've never seen the Godfather movies, and I don't know. I have a hard time getting excited about them. I did see Goodfellas, and I was like, it's fine, it's fine,
yeah. Goodfellas is not bad.
but
You think that was okay?
it's fine. It's not something I would watch twice, but it's
Okay,
And I watched because it was on Netflix. He had that movie, The Irishman, a couple years ago. That I was pretty
I didn't
bored.
see that, but I heard great things about it.
I was pretty bored by it, but
Okay.
you might get more mileage out of it.
Hmm.
What actually one movie of his I did watch because it wasn't a mobster movie was that oh now I'm blanking on the name. It's like a kid that lives in like a train station and like it's all about like the joy of like movies and stuff. Hugo,
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
which I remember liking that movie. So
Hmm.
okay, this next one I don't know how I feel about it. I might check it out. So Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix. Based on the hugely popular animated series of the same name, this Netflix live action series seeks to right the wrongs of the famously terrible Avatar The Last Airbender film that we got back in 2010. The show follows a war torn world where people can bend the elements. Aang, the last known airbender, has to keep order in the fragile world and fend off plans for a total takeover. It will star Daniel Day Kim and a whole host of newcomers. So, uh, Lester like really loves the animated series of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Hmm.
Years ago, I watched the first episode and I was kind of bored by it, so I never went and watched more. But a part of me thinks that I should because I've heard nothing but people rant and rave about that
Yeah.
cartoon and how good it is. So
Yeah.
like a part of me is like, well, should I try watching the animated series or should I maybe just wait for this to come out and watch this? What do you think? Will you be into this?
I've never seen it. I've heard great things. Um, I'm interested in it for sure. I definitely think I might want to go back and watch it, especially if the show's any good. Um, the movie really turned me off to it. It is a good thing that they're actually hiring Asian people to play Asian people. That's an amazing tactic that they're going with.
Go woke, go broke,
Something,
AJ.
yeah. I mean, they normally don't do that, so this is a change.
I
So I
feel
mean,
like,
yeah,
to be fair, like I feel like in the last few years, Hollywood has like been pretty good about diversity in casting.
they are now, but it's what changed the last few years? Like, what's the difference between now and like 10 years ago? Like, I don't know what happened. Like, did China like put their foot? I don't know what happened. The demographics like slowly are changing, but I don't know. It's weird, but it's good. It's a good thing, I guess. So I'm glad they're doing at least that much. I'll wait for the reviews to come in, though. I'm not sure. After M Night Shyamalan's version of Avatar, uh, I'm not too excited about the franchise.
My understanding is Robert Downey Jr. is playing the little boy. Okay, this will be a big show that I imagine a lot of people watch. Stranger Things season 5. There's a distinct possibility that the young cast of Stranger Things will be pushing 20 while still playing teenagers in the final outing for the Hawkins gang. But such is life. After Big Daddy Vecna unleashed the Upside Down on Hawkins, causing a massive earthquake that killed a lot of people, the last series of Stranger Things closed on a cliffhanger. How, everyone asked, are this scrappy bunch going to get out of it this time? There's still some time to wait before season 5 hits our screens, but seeing as it's the final outing, it's sure to pack an emotional payoff. I mean, I've watched it up till now. I'm definitely going to watch the final season of Stranger Things. Um, I don't think like I wouldn't call myself like I definitely don't get excited as excited for Stranger Things that I see a lot of people online do. But I like it. I think
Yeah.
it's a solid show, and I'm definitely up for watching more of it.
I could take it or leave it. I probably won't watch it to be honest, but
Really?
yeah, I'm sick of Netflix, man. Like, there's nothing on there. I'm not gonna get one show. I'm not too excited about it.
But you don't think when you hear everybody talking about it nonstop, it'll make you go like, "Oh, fine, I'll watch it just to see what the big deal is."
Nah.
No. I do remember thinking after I saw the very first season of Stranger Things, which I think is probably still the strongest season of the show, that like
Yeah.
it kind of would have been cool if it was an anthology show and like that was just that season, like, and then like if they did it again, maybe it would be an anthology like show set in either like the '90s or more contemporary. They could just tell all these
Yeah.
like you know similarly themed. Like I get why they didn't. Like that cast is really good and everything, but and I to be fair, I've enjoyed the show throughout, so I shouldn't complain too
Mm,
much. But part of me thinks that would have been cool.
yeah.
Um, ooh, AJ, I know you and your sister will be excited for this one. Me, not so much. Bridgerton season 3.
Oh,
Um,
I don't watch Bridgerton, but she loves Bridgerton. I'm surprised it's going back for a third season, man. Like, people are watching that. I thought it was just her.
I think it's actually a big show for Netflix. Uh,
Okay,
prepare
get
for
it.
more. Prepare for more bodices to be ripped. Um, Oh, they just refer to the British apparently just refer to it as the ton. The ton will be a buzz once the new season of Bridgerton
We're
hits our
learning a
screens.
lot of Britishisms today, man.
AJ, this season focuses on the love story between Penelope, Lady Whistledown, in case you didn't know, and
Lady
Colin.
whistle down.
After insulting her to the rest of the lads in the final episode of the last season, it's going to take some hard graft to get Colin back in the good books. Expect much of the same dresses, balls, vague ideas of Regency England, and settle in for the sauciest show on the telly. Now, does that get you excited or does that get you excited?
Man, I mean, I don't want to sound like a typical like, toxic male or anything, but that show's made for the women, right? That's what it is. That's not made for the guys, I think.
Yeah, I don't
More
think so.
power to you if you're a guy watching it, but I think it's mostly targeted towards women.
Yeah, that's a
Balls and stuff.
definitely a chick show. Okay, this next one, just like Stranger Things, this fits into a realm of a show that I will watch, a show that I liked the first season of, but I don't think I was into it as the rest of the world. Squid Game season 2. The
Never
big.
seen it.
Oh, really? Um,
Yeah.
I think it's worth watching. I liked it. The biggest show that Netflix ever released is, of course, getting a second series. How couldn't it? It's a good thing the first series about a deadly game inflicted on the most debt-ridden people in society ended on a cliffhanger. After taking home the massive winnings, Ji-hoon has his sights set on the game masters who want nothing more than to keep him quiet so they can keep playing their evil games. Season 2 looks set to crack the whole thing wide open, but we still have to wait for some time before our release date is delivered. So yeah, who knows if it'll actually come out this year? But man, AJ, I'm actually surprised you didn't see this show. It seemed like everybody saw it at the time.
Everybody saw it. My sister watched it. Everybody watched it. I'm one of those people, like, I don't know why, but I can't watch a show while it's like in its prime, it feels like. I can't do it. Then I gotta discover it later on my own for some reason. You
I
can't lead this horse to water. Yeah. Can't make me drink it.
you're one of those hipsters that doesn't like anything that's too popular. No, but uh, no, I kind of get that because sometimes if you're not watching a show as it happens and it gets just like so much buzz like that show gets, then you're just like, there is something about it where you feel I don't know why that happens. You would think it would excite you more to watch it, like, oh, everybody says this is great, but it almost feels like then you're like feel like you're burdened to have to watch it almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I get that, but I can confidently say that it is a good show if you ever get around to it.
Hmm.
Um, Also on the Netflix train, Wednesday season 2. The moodiest girl in the world will be back for round 2. Wednesday's first season broke Stranger Things season 4 viewing records at lightning speed. So it's only natural the Adams Family spinoff will be back for more. Jenna Ortega's take on the Solon sibling sees her at Nevermore Academy, a boarding school for outcasts. After fending off a literal beast in season one, there are plenty more monstrous and familial battles in store for round two. Now, AJ, since Wednesday season one was so popular, did you watch it?
My sister watched it. I watched a little bit of it with her, but I didn't think it was that great. Man, it's starting to sound like we're gonna get Netflix again pretty soon with Bridgerton and Wednesday, though. I think my sister's gonna make us get it, but
That'll make her cave, yeah.
yeah,
And Squid Games, maybe.
yeah, she watched that too. But yeah, I mean Wednesday once again. I don't. I think it might be mostly towards the women, like from what I saw. I don't know, but
You know,
yeah, it's
I'll say,
fine.
I did watch it. I it was a it was a cute show. It's enjoyable enough. It's a different take on the Adams Family.
Mhm.
Um, again, like I don't necessarily understand why it broke so many streaming records necessarily. Like I think there's better shows on Netflix, but I thought it was a cute show and like it kind of almost has that Harry Potter feel because she's going to this like weird school with kids that can do all these like weird things. So
Yeah.
it's got that kind of thing going for it. I think maybe it just appealed to both like old fans of the Adams Family characters as well as like teenagers and little kids. I think it's definitely like a what they would call like a four quadrant show. So maybe that's why it did so well.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
I kind of wonder because like apparently um, Warner Brothers is supposedly going to make a Harry Potter TV show that I think is meant to be able to do like more of the stuff that was in the books than the movies were able to. But my thing is like kids grow so quickly that just like with Stranger Things, like I think if they don't really do a lot of pre-production and like really churn out the seasons of a Harry Potter show, like the kids are going to get too old looking. They're going to run into that problem again. So like,
Yeah. Man, I know who they're targeting with Harry Potter. I watched Harry Potter. I couldn't wait for it to be done by like the sixth movie. I was like, that sixth movie was so bad. I don't want to watch anything on the franchise. I didn't care. I was I want to throw up after hearing about Harry Potter now. Like it's just too much. Like I've had enough. It's like overeating certain foods for so long that you're just like, I don't want to see it again now. And God, that sixth movie was so bad. They shoehorned it, like they forced us to watch that two-part sixth and seventh, I think. And it was bad. I hated it. After that, I just hated the whole franchise.
I like the movies decently. I will say I do think it was a mistake for them to split that up like they did. And like, yeah, I agree that part one of those last two movies is like the weakest movie in the whole series, for
Yeah.
sure. Um, but overall, I like the series decently. My thing though is like, if they're gonna do a TV series, I would rather them do it with like a whole different cast of characters. Like because of the movies, like yeah, I'm sure there's things in the books that I don't know about, but like I know the basics of that story. I would rather see like a totally different kids group of kids like going to Hogwarts and like tell that story rather than just repeat the Harry Potter story again.
There's no way they could do it with Radcliffe and them for sure, right? Like they're gonna
Oh
de-age them or something.
no, and I mean unless they wanted to do a thing to where like they're now teachers in the school or something, and there's the
Parents or something,
Saved
yeah.
by the Bell, the new kids or whatever, the new class.
Yeah.
um, Next on this list is a show I don't care about, but it's a show I've heard of, but like You season five.
I've
Uh,
actually seen this show.
oh, you have? Okay.
Season one
So it says
and
hello.
two.
Okay, so after I'll see what you think of this. So it says hello, you again and again and again and again. You just can't get rid of Joe Goldberg. Stalkers are like that, after all. Coming back with one final season, season 5 of You, the series about a stalker slash hopeless romantic slash murderer slash book enthusiast will land back where it all started in New York City. Joe is happily settled down with Kate, who knows most of his dirty little secrets, but homecomings always entail a few reunions. According to Netflix, the familiar face is back to haunt Joe, and with the mammoth list of victims left in his wake, the Avenger could be anyone's guess. Okay, so give me the basic rundown of what this show is.
From what I've seen, this guy's just like a psychotic boyfriend. Like he obsesses over girls. Um, he commits murder pretty easily. Like, if somebody's in the way of him getting with that girl, uh, he'll kill them. And he's always getting himself in a situation where like his his whole plot like unfoils. Like somebody's gonna figure out he did this or this happened earlier, and he's lying about this. He's always he's masquerading all the time. So like he's trying to keep up this lie, and that ends up biting him in the ass. So he has to eliminate whoever can unravel his lies. And yeah, that's mostly what I've seen from seasons 1 and 2. And season 2 was not that strong, and I heard season 3 was even worse. So I'm surprised it's still going. I mean,
So it's on
Netflix
the
usually gets rid of a show pretty quickly, I thought. So
it's on the downslope. Well, that's the last season, so I guess they finally ran out of ideas.
yeah.
And then lastly on this list is another show I'm pretty skeptical will come out in 2024, but whenever it comes out, I'll be interested in it. A new Star Wars series called The Acolyte. You might need your own separate Rolodex for the number of Star Wars shows to keep track of. Acolyte will hit our screens next year, and we'll see. Set in the High Republic era before the events of the main Star Wars films, part crime procedural, part space quest, the series will track the emerging dark powers of the galaxy with an ominous understanding of what's to come. It will star The Good Place's Manny Jacinto, Squid Game's Lee Jung Jae, and Amandla Sternberg. I'm not really familiar with. Well, I guess I kind of know some of those actors, um, but yeah, it's what I like about it is it takes place in a time period that I don't think much has been done with in Star Wars, except maybe in some comics and like outside material. But it definitely sounds interesting, and it says uh, part crime procedural. That sounds interesting to me in the context of a Star Wars show. So I'm
Mm. You
definitely
love your procedurals.
not all the time. I mean, there's a lot of procedural shows that are terrible, but if here's the thing, like there is a such thing as a winning formula, and if a show
Mm.
finds the winning formula, a procedural is not always a bad thing.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I get it. A lot of procedurals feel like what they call like a laundry folding show, where you can kind of do something else and just have it on in the background and still kind of get what happened.
All right, dude, I gotta ask you this. Like, I can't tell if I'm just paranoid, like one of those like, you know, what do they call those people who like conspiracy theorists? I can't tell if I'm just one of those, but every rapper who's at the police at some point becomes a cop in one of these procedural shows or something. Ice Cube is a cop in every movie, it feels like.
Ice
Um,
T in Law and
Ice
Order.
T is on Law and Order, I think.
Yeah.
There's another one too. I just it feels like all these guys eventually become cops in these shows. What's going on?
It is interesting. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to fix the police from the inside.
Is
I don't
that
know.
like the community service or something? They have to like play a cop on TV.
Maybe it's a grand conspiracy by the man where they're like, we're going to hire these guys that were critical of the police to now
To
be the
become
police
and make us look good.
right and make us look good. Maybe you're right. That's the biggest conspiracy theory of them all. They're trying to make the police look better by.
Should I say it? Will I get my own show? Like,
We should make a separate podcast where we just make up conspiracy theorists and see how many followers we can get, because I think we'd
that's
be doing
true.
better
Yeah,
numbers than this podcast, to be honest.
for sure. Yeah,
People love conspiracy theories.
they do.
And
Oh
if
my
it,
god.
the thing with conspiracy theorists, if you can get them to buy into one, they'll buy into all of them.
Oh yeah, their whole world unravels.
I have a cousin on Facebook, and he recently was posting things that, like, are y'all ready to apologize for the conspiracy theorists in your life over the last past couple years or whatever? And it's just funny with him in particular because he's one that I remember reposting like QAnon type stuff. Like Tom Hanks is like one of those people that, like, I don't know, owns like uh like eats babies or something, you know what I mean? And
Oh
like
yeah.
uh all sorts of weird stuff like that. So I'm like, really? You're gonna ask us for an apology, Mister? I believe in the most outlandish conspiracy theorists of all time. I don't think so.
Yeah, Tom Hanks, man. That's out of all people.
You got to pick. You know, it's always the guy you'd least suspect. The guy everyone thinks is like the nicest guy. Um. Well, AJ, we got about 10 minutes left or so. I thought we probably should do a couple stories. What do you got for us?
All right, this one clearly, I get these all from Lad Bible, so they also have Britishisms, but this one's clearly to grab people's attention. It grabbed my attention, so I just had to talk about it.
Okay.
No Nut December is finally over, and now men are embracing Destroy Dick December.
I,
That's pretty much the whole article right there, I'm sure. But
yeah, I
let's
actually
see.
saw that article, but like, I was like, there doesn't seem to be much to this more than the good headline.
Yeah, yeah. Here we go. Oh, starts with blokes around the world are celebrating the end of No Nut November. The annual event sees men abstain from pleasuring themselves until completion for the whole month as a test of willpower. Some also chose to avoid watching pornography, but the main aim is to avoid the act of masturbation during November. However, it is now officially December 1st. It's obviously way past then, and they can finally rip in. They flooded the No Nut November Reddit page with cheers and celebration. One member said, "Congratulations, we can be proud of this achievement." Another added, "I just woke up from my nap and it just ended 2 hours ago for me." Fourth claim this year. I'm proud of you, comrade. Now go blow the biggest nut till we meet again next year. Peace. Some people who do No Nut November believe holding off from ejaculation for a whole month can produce mental clarity and increased sense of self confidence. Did you do No Nut November? I gotta ask you. It's really personal, but do
No,
you
I
abide by this?
no, I've never done that. And to be honest, from a purely scientific perspective, I don't even think it's that healthy. Well, I don't know. Maybe there could be something said for, like, you know, watching less porn or whatever. But
Yeah,
I think medical people actually say like there's a health benefit to masturbation. Like it's not good for your prostate to like to never ejaculate or something like that.
yeah. I think porn is super unhealthy, man. Like, you know, I mean, do what you do in the bedroom. That's fine. But I mean, even porn stars say like they don't do that in real life.
Right, of
That's
course.
just for the cameras. And the addiction it can really mess people up. I've seen, obviously it's just like any other addiction.
Right.
Um, I also think that the clarity that somebody would get from not masturbating, that would be the opposite for me. If I didn't masturbate for a whole month, I'd be like, oh my gosh, did you see that ankle?
I know. That's the
She's rocking
thing.
some serious knee.
Yeah, you'd really just be thinking of nothing else.
Right? Yes. I don't know about that. While it might be different for some participants, Dr. Raina Malik explained that the benefits of not nutting could help boost your fertility when you finally do have sex. That makes sense. But overall, there wasn't much of a reason to do it, especially not for 30 days. Okay. She explained that while there aren't any huge health problems caused by participating No Nut November, it doesn't really help much either as you'll miss out on the benefits of masturbation. She said there's a number of benefits to masturbation, including better sleep, decreased heart rate, decreased stress, and a lot of increase in good feel good hormones. People can get a lot of pain and discomfort in the pelvic floor of their testicles. Um, As for feelings of improved mental health and increased self confidence, there may actually be some truth there. Okay. The self discipline required to make it to 30 days without orgasming proves to participants that they can set a goal and achieve it. Well, that's pretty much anything, right? Now that No Nut November is officially over, blokes are gearing up for one hell of a December. And we're not talking about festive season. Some people will like to balance out No Nut November with Destroy Dick December and make up for some lost time. There's no set rules when it comes to this additional challenge, but blokes are given free reign to nut as much as they like. If you didn't know it was a British article, they definitely made sure you knew it was blokes, man. Jesus Christ.
The thing is, though, even with people who participate in No Nut November, let's be honest then, every other month is Break Dick December.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like you're probably recovering from October just for No Nut November. Like they're probably like cameling it up, like saving all their like using up all their stuff the month before, so they don't have anything left for November.
That's true. People who participated, like Halloween night, they're just going to town on themselves.
Oh, oh yeah, for sure. And this is for single people for sure, right? Because if you're like if you're married or you have a girlfriend, who's going to abide by No Nut November? Come on, like, is she going to be okay with that? I don't know.
There's probably some wives that are like, you really should participate in No Nut November. You think there's any women that do? You think there's any women that do No Nut November?
I think it's so much easier for women to do that.
Oh, it
Man.
is. It is.
Fair. Yeah.
I do like though on that
men are at
famous
a disadvantage.
I
Huh?
do like on the Master of Your Domain episode of Seinfeld that Elaine was like one of the first people to like lose the
Oh,
bet.
that was insane. No way.
I know, but it's funny. It's funny. Let me see what I got here in terms of articles. I'll do one and then we can call it a show. Um, well, this one I just found today. I haven't really read it, but the headline got my attention. Vietnamese man's headache was caused by chopsticks in his brain.
That'll do it.
You really shouldn't try to power through persistent headaches. If your head feels like it's splitting constantly, there might be something seriously wrong. Take this Vietnamese man, for example. The 35-year-old man was suffering from horrendous, persistent headaches, yet he simply tried to grit his teeth and bear the pain. After 5 months, however, he discovered a strange object in his nose. At the same time, his nose and throat got extremely runny, and his vision became a blur. He was rushed to a hospital where we can only imagine the doctor's reactions when they scanned his head. There was a pair of chopsticks lodged inside the man's skull. When asked if he knew how the chopsticks got in his brain, the man couldn't remember at first. Eventually, he recalled that a night out had turned rowdy some months back, and he may have been stabbed in the face with something sharp. We can't help but wonder how much you have to drink not to realize you just got a pair of wooden sticks shoved into your skull. The bizarre medical case happened in late November, according to Vietnamese media sources. The man, identified only as Mr. PVT, had been struggling with the strange health issues for some time. Over the past 5 months, he had suffered from severe recurring headaches and a sensation of tightness in his skull. He also had regular discharge through his nose and throat, sometimes snot, other times pus. Still, Mr. PVT had not sought medical help. He simply tried to power through the pain until the day came when he no longer could. One day, Mr. PVT's nose got extremely itchy. While scratching it, he discovered what was described as a foreign object. Trying to fix the issue himself, the man grabbed a pair of tweezers to try to pull out the unwelcome intruder. Much to his horror, though, he discovered that the object was a lot bigger than he realized. Immediately following his attempt to dislodge the object, Mr. PVT took a turn for the worse. His headache exploded. He virtually lost his vision, and the flow of liquid from his nose became a waterfall. At this point, his family decided it was time to see a doctor. They rushed Mr. PVT to the emergency room of the Vietnam-Cuba Friendship Hospital in Dong Hoi, where doctors promptly gave him a CT scan. They discovered the man suffered from intracranial pneumothorax. a life-threatening condition where excess air in the skull cavity exerts pressure on the brain. Further tests revealed the obvious cause of Mr. PVT's condition. That would be the pair of chopsticks piercing through the nose into his brain. I mean, this article goes on for a while, but I'm like, just like they said, like, how, like, my only thought is that these somehow caused him a weird memory loss. Because, like they said, like, how drunk do you have to be to get chopsticks, like, stuck through your nose, like, partially into your brain or whatever, and, like, you don't remember it? Like my only thought is they pressed on like some sort of memory thing in his brain and like messed up his memory. I don't know how this could happen.
You can get pretty drunk. I've been pretty drunk. I can see that.
You get that
But
drunk though?
where you forget, yeah, for sure. You can get like I think it's like a brownout maybe, or I mean there are blackout drunks, but I
Right.
mean the thing is how the chopsticks got all the way up there. Like what kind of fight was this? Was he fighting like a ninja who could like easily get chopsticks up people's noses? Like
The other thing,
what?
I would think the chopsticks would be long enough that it would kill you if they actually got that far in.
True. This guy is a survivor. This guy's it's a miracle he's alive.
It is amazing. It is amazing that it didn't just kill him. But the fact that,
Yeah,
also that he could like, I don't know, like he's getting these terrible headaches, but you would think there would be like, if the chopsticks are actually in there, like you would think they would cause so much discomfort. Like he would know, like there's something else wrong. Like there's something in here. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's just amazing to me. Maybe he's one of those guys that just really hates going to the doctor, and he's like, "No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine."
He
I don't
must have
know.
made up that chopstick story, the fight or something. Because what did the people hold him down and place the chopsticks up his nose? Like
It doesn't say. Oh,
something
maybe
weird
if.
is up with that. Something weird is going on with that story, man.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like even if he was like blackout drunk, like when he woke up the next morning, how could he not know there was something more wrong than just like a terrible headache? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, the fact that it's even possible for that to happen and not kill you is pretty amazing to me.
yeah, that is amazing. The human body can survive a lot of stuff, I guess.
There's definitely like, man, can you imagine like just being a doctor and like you see something like this? Like
Yeah, man.
anytime, I bet doctors who perform like, CT scans and stuff like that, they just, or x-rays, to be honest, like every time you do one, there's that like 1 in 1,000 chance you're going to see something like just out of this world.
For sure. Yeah. I think they see it all the time, man. Like I've heard bad stories, like sad stories too, of like people doing stuff with animals.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and you always hear about people sticking something up their butt. So I mean, those are the ones we hear about. I'm sure they have like so many stories to tell that I mean, obviously they can't really tell you because they're under that
Right.
HIPAA and stuff like that. But geez, man, they seen some stuff.
I always wonder about some of these that are, published in medical uh, journals, like this guy, where they just go like, "Oh, he's Mr. PVT" or whatever. But I think they still have to agree to that. Like, "Oh, your case is so weird. Can we publish it in a medical journal? We won't use your
Oh
real
yeah,
name." But sometimes in these medical journals, you will hear the story of like, "Oh, this guy shoved something crazy up his ass," and it's like,
yeah.
even if they were going to not use your name, would you really want that in a medical journal? That, oh yeah, you know, stuck this. I think we had a story where a guy stuck like an unexploded like World War II like artillery shell up his ass or something. It's like, who wants that published in a medical journal?
Yeah, man. I think I've also heard about light bulbs being up there. No, I think
There was an episode of Scrubs where somebody did that. I don't know if that's
well,
based on a
maybe that's what
real.
I'm confusing it with. I could be confusing 'cause that's really dangerous as hell too. Like obviously an unexploded grenade or whatever is going to be bad as hell. But I mean, also a light bulb is not the smartest thing to shove up there, man. That would cut you up. And chemicals and everything. But
I don't know. Light bulbs are associated with good ideas.
man, people do some crazy. Like, just go online and buy a sex toy. Why is that so hard? Is there more shame in that than going to the doctor at the end of the day and telling them about what you shoved up there?
I wouldn't think so, but it keeps happening, so you never know. But
I did
AJ,
hear about a woman recently who shoved a sex toy up. Did we talk about this? I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
this woman, she was like doing stuff with her partner, and I guess she had a sex toy that was like a smaller, like 3-inch thing, and it just got sucked up right up in her anal cavity. She had to go to the doctor.
I mean,
That's at least understandable.
it's embarrassing, but yeah, it's at least understandable that
Yeah,
it could happen. You know, that it could happen. It's not at least like, oh,
it's the
I
right object.
accidentally
Yeah.
sat on a coconut. Well, AJ, back to light bulbs and good ideas. You know what's a good idea?
What is?
Subscribing to our YouTube channel and subscribing in audio form on your podcast catcher of choice. We thank everybody that does that. Please, if you will, tell everybody you know about us. Get us our subscriber numbers up. We would thank you very much for that. Leave us thumbs up, positive reviews, comments. Tell us what kind of stuff you've allegedly sat on. And if you like, you can follow me over on Twitter/X at Zach Jones Live. That's ZachJonesLive. And that'll do it for all of our shenanigans and poppycock this week. Please, please, please tune in again next week. Bye, guys.
Take care.